You're listening to the Bulldog Insider podcast, brought to you by Essentia Health.
It only takes one step, twist, or crunch to know something doesn't feel right. Essentia Health's orthopedic and sports medicine team gets you back to doing what you love with commitment, resilience, intention. We're here to keep you moving forward. Visit essentiahealth.org to learn more about orthopedics and sports medicine, like nowhere else.
Hello and welcome to the Bulldog Insider podcast, brought to you by Essentia Health. I'm your host, Matt Wellens, the Bulldogs hockey beat reporter at the Duluth News Tribune.
And I'm Zach Schneider, the television voice of UMD Hockey and My Nine Sports.
This week on the podcast, we're joined by a sophomore center out of St. Cloud, Minnesota. He's one of two Montreal Canadiens draft picks for the Bulldogs. Welcome to the podcast, Jack Smith.
Thanks for having me.
So, Jack, whenever a kid from this area, Duluth, Hermantown, Cloquet, commits to play hockey somewhere other than the Bulldogs, the first question they get asked is, why did you commit to Mankato? Or not, the first question not asked is, why did you commit to Mankato or St. Cloud or Bemidji or whatever? They'd get asked, why didn't you commit to UMD? Poor Ryan Sandelin had to answer that question for who knows how many years. What was it like for you being a St. Cloud kid playing for Cathedral, a pretty good Cathedral program at the time? What was it like for you when you committed to the Bulldogs? And why did you, how did a St. Cloud kid end up here at UMD?
Yeah, I think for me, honestly, right away, I think I committed my 10th grade year of high school, and I know I had a visit here early on that year, and I was just obsessed with it right away. Like, I wanted to be a Bulldog right away, honestly, when I came here the first time, and I went back to high school, had a pretty good year, and I got an offer, and I think I chose the school. It's pretty obvious. They have a winning track record. Obviously, Coach Sandelin, he's one of the best to ever do it for college hockey, and honestly, just playing at Amsoil, it's an amazing rink, awesome fans, and then just the facilities along with it. So
did you get asked by people like, "Oh, you're going to UMD? Why not St. Cloud?"
Yeah,
did you get a lot of that, or
quite a bit actually. I have the same answer every time. I think it's just I kind of wanted to be not too close to home, but not too far at the same time. My parents can come up every weekend, so it's pretty nice.
Admittedly, I don't know the St. Cloud State roster up and down, but just trying to think of it over the years, have there been a lot of St. Cloud kids that have ended up at St. Cloud State that you can think of, whether they're older, your time, or younger, kids that are kind of around your time playing high school hockey there?
I can't really think. I know, well, Nick Ports, I know he's there right now at St. Cloud, but another guy, Austin Pagansky, I know he went to North Dakota. Nate Schmidt was at the Gophers, but other than that, I can't really think of anybody who went to
some of the big names, from St. Cloud or from the metro area, Minnesota, but not necessarily from St. Cloud itself.
No, like Ben Hanowski, Little Falls, that's close to St. Cloud. He went to St. Cloud, but other than that, no, I don't know anybody who's kind of stayed close to home like that.
I was fully one of those kids growing up that was like, there was a good broadcasting journalism school right near my high school, University of Wisconsin-Oshkosh. But I was not, my parents had gone to Oshkosh, but I was not going there because it was like 15 minutes, half hour from home.
Yeah, too close.
Like way too close to home and such. What was your favorite college team growing up, and who were some of your favorite college players?
I would have to say St. Cloud, honestly. That year when Hanowski and LeBlanc and all of them, when they went to the Frozen Four, that was probably my favorite team growing up, watching them. I'd go to all the games on the weekends. So those were probably my favorite players, like Dowd and everything. That team was pretty loaded, so it was always fun to watch on the weekends.
So you were spent a lot of time at Herb Brooks, playing games there and also watching games.
Yeah, usually when I wasn't playing, I would be at their games with all my buddies. We'd sit up on the top row and go to the games on Friday and Saturday whenever we weren't playing. So
what's it been like going back there now as a Bulldog the last couple of years?
We've been back there quite a bit with playoffs last year.
I was going to say a lot.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens this year. But it's pretty special. Like I said, I was there watching all those guys, and now I'm playing on that ice on the other side of things. So it's pretty cool playing there back home. I usually have a lot of family and friends that come out and watch. So
how quickly does that go away when you go play back in St. Cloud? Was it special the first time and now it's just another game, or is it always special for you to get back there?
Yeah, I would say it was pretty cool the first time, but then once we were back there, 5 or 6 times again, it's kind of like, all right, this is getting a little old. Maybe we can get off the Olympic ice here. So
maybe we can stay somewhere other than the Kelly Inn.
Yeah, exactly.
Can we go crash at Jack's house or something like that? I know Bruce Siskey's really looking forward to maybe another UMD St. Cloud State playoff series. He's said that's his dream matchup, I believe. Bruce is going to kill us for saying that. But would you want to go back there again for another playoff series? Or
I mean, the goal is to have home ice, obviously, to work towards that. But if that doesn't happen, I mean, it's nice for travel and stuff. We don't have to hop on a plane or anything. So,
or 8-hour bus rides.
Yeah, an 8-hour bus ride
to and from Omaha.
Yeah.
I want to go back to your senior year of high school in 2019-20. Those playing Minnesota high school hockey at the time, like you guys were fortunate. You got your postseason tournament and all that in before the pandemic shut everything down. I don't want to talk about the pandemic, but there were some really great battles that year between your Cathedral team and Hermantown. There's actually, I was going through the rosters. The Hawks had, at that time, now they have 3 of your teammates, and Blake Biondi, Joey Pierce, and Aaron Pionk. You weren't in that epic 5-5 tie in Hermantown, right? You were hurt at that time.
No, I was on the bench.
Yeah. But what were those battles like there and then at the state tournament? And do those guys hold it over you at all? Did the state tournament win later on? I've heard those Hermantown guys like to brag about their state tournament experience over the years.
I don't know, that first game when we were in Hermantown that year, I wasn't able to play due to an injury. But I remember on the bench, I was just itching to play. I wanted to play in that game so bad, and we ended up tying. And then I was fortunate enough to come back for the state tournament, and we lost to Hermantown. But I don't know, we don't really talk about it a ton, but I'll bring up the state title every once in a while that I won the year before. So me and Blake will go at that a couple times, but other than that, no, we kind of just let it go.
Yeah, we're getting close to that time of the year where state title bragging rights come up in the locker room, isn't it?
Yeah, it'll always be a thing, but we try to keep it on the down low.
How well did you know those guys at that time as a senior in high school? Crazy that you and Blake end up both getting drafted by Montreal shortly after that as well. But how closely did you know some of those guys? Because I do remember, I think you and Blake were UMD recruits. I don't know if Joey had committed. Obviously, Aaron wasn't a UMD recruit at the time. But how well did you know those guys when you were playing them?
Yeah, I kind of knew Joey the best, actually. I don't think he was committed to Duluth yet, but we grew up playing on some summer teams and some fall festivals or whatever they are, but I kind of just always knew of Blake. I wouldn't say we talked or anything, but yeah, I wasn't really close with any of them at the time when we played each other.
When you commit, and you committed early, which is becoming less of a thing, it was your junior year, right?
Yeah, it was either early junior year or sophomore year.
Okay, yes. I mean, that's becoming less of a thing now. Yeah. People are a little bit older, but I mean, do you start communicating with other commits like Blake or like a Joey once he got committed, or is that kind of left for maybe the summer before you actually come in? There's such a long span in there. It could be 3-4 years for some guys. Yeah,
I think it's just more kind of like a congratulations, like looking forward to the future with you. But I didn't really talk to him that much. It was just kind of more of a congrats. We don't really talk as much. Just kind of focus on our own thing at the time. So
you're still opponents then, and then juniors you could be opponents. So there's a ways to go before you become teammates. We kind of,
I would say, like you said, we leave it kind of before the summer. Once everybody comes in here, we meet all the freshmen and everything. I think it's kind of left for that.
We had mentioned you and Blake drafted within a few picks of each other in the 4th round there in the 2020 draft. And if I remember right, that draft was held was that like in the fall or something like that?
Yeah, it was in the fall. It was later because of the pandemic.
That's right. It was later in the fall because of the pandemic. I remember for me, media begins with me being very convenient that Jack and Blake went a couple picks from each other and to the same team because they threw them on the same Zoom call together. But what's that been like, you and Blake going through the Montreal system together?
Yeah, it's pretty cool because when we go there in the summer for the development camp and everything, I have a familiar face with me and a friend, so it's kind of easier to work through that stuff, and instead of just hopping into something where you don't know anybody, it's always tough. So we have that, we fly together and stuff, so it's nice to have a friend there with you for sure.
that's a very passionate fan base.
Yep.
And organization. Do you have much interaction with that fan base as a prospect of theirs? Do you hear from Montreal fans? Or maybe they leave you, some of you the lower round guy. They're not on you as much as maybe some of the first rounders.
Early on, a little bit of interaction, but now there's just none at all. No.
And they don't follow college hockey as closely.
They probably don't follow us as much as the other
Montreal. Guys. What's it like though in that organization? Quebec, French-speaking town like Montreal. What's that experience been like going to their development camps?
It's awesome. I mean, all the way their staff to everybody. Everybody's just so nice around there. You're given everything when you're there. It's just super special, and the city's awesome. I've been there twice now. And we went to the city last summer, saw the Habs rink and everything. It's really cool.
Were you able to skate there both times you went, or the first time you were still hurt?
The first time I was coming off shoulder surgery, but I was able to skate. I couldn't do any contact or anything. But last summer, the last one, I was a full go at it.
How does that camp compare to what you've experienced here at UMD? Is it another level up? What kind of guys did you see around you at that point to kind of give you the first taste of NHL life?
Yeah, I mean, there's guys like Owen Beck there, Joshua Waugh, who are up and down from the NHL to AHL. It's honestly like skill level is pretty similar. It's always faster. The game gets faster as you go up, so it's faster than college for sure. And got everybody around you is just super skilled.
Obviously, you're focused on what you're trying to do here at UMD this season and then the rest of your career before you get on to Montreal. But being drafted, that's an exciting day in a player's life. But it's kind of like committing, right? You've got so much work to do and so much progress to make before you make that next step. Do you pay attention a lot to like what's happening at that NHL club because you've been drafted there? You pay more attention to their results, or do you just kind of put it off to the side for now?
Yeah, I mean, I put it off to the side. I try not to think about it too much just because I know there's a lot of time for development and stuff in between if that level ever did come for an opportunity for me. But yeah, I kind of just put it aside. I mean, now that I was picked by them, I'll watch their games a little more and cheer for them, keep an eye on that stuff. But for the most part, I kind of just focus on where I am now and not worry about it too much.
Zach brought up the injuries. You've had a number over the past couple of years. Can you take us through them? Yeah, the one I remember we were all really bummed around here when you weren't going to play in the game at Hermantown against Blake at the time. Senior year of high school, you missed some time in Sioux Falls. What have some of the injuries you've been battling over the past few years here?
Yeah, my first big injury was my senior year. I tore my labrum in my shoulder.
So you were tearing your labrum in your shoulder before Dom and Blake and all that made it cool, huh?
Yep. Yeah, I was the first one, so I must have brought it here or something. The bad luck, I don't know. But yeah, that happened my senior year. I rehabbed for that, and then the next year for Sioux Falls, I did the same exact thing to the other shoulder. So 2 shoulder problems. Those were kind of my only 2 major injuries. There's just little stuff here and there that everybody deals with, but yeah, those are the 2 things that kept me out for almost 2 years. So.
Would you have rather had them both done at the same time, like poor Blake there, back to back, or maybe space them out is a little better?
Space them out, I think. That'd be pretty brutal if
that's your recommendation if you're going to get both shoulders worked out. Don't go the Blake Biondi route.
Yeah.
How have the injuries and stuff you feel impacted your development and such?
Yeah, I mean, it takes a toll on you just not being able to play. I couldn't play hockey for 5-6 months at a span of time, so it's almost a little over a year I couldn't play. Yeah, it sucks, like just having to sit around and do nothing. You're just waiting for your chance to get back on the ice, and you just try to stay healthy. But I mean, you just try to make the most of it. You're trying to do every little thing you can off of the ice to help you while you're not playing games.
Which was the bigger, I guess, obstacle? Was it the physical like distance that you had from the game when you came back from those injuries, or was it kind of the emotional, you haven't been around practice and workouts and the guys like that in a while?
Yeah, I think it's probably more the emotional side. You're just like, you're away from the game. You're just sitting around. It almost feels like you're not a part of the team. Like when you have a big injury like that, because you're not traveling with them on weekends. And if they leave on a Wednesday, like we just did to Omaha, you're sitting back at school and just everybody's gone. You're bored and yeah, you can't skate. Like I feel for Dom right now. Like Blake, we went through the same thing he's going through. Like he's just been sitting around, just waiting for his time. But I know he's been working hard off the ice, so that's kind of all you can do.
you've gone through it twice now, the rehab process. So on the physical side of things, was there a time when you felt like, okay, I'm back and I feel strong? I mean, I think we've seen that with Blake even this year, where he's gotten stronger and more confident as the year has gone on. And I think, I mean, just by watching him, he hasn't told me this, but it seems like it makes sense that a lot of that would have to do with the shoulders.
Yeah, it takes time to build that strength back in the shoulder for sure, and just find that confidence, honestly. But yeah, at first, I know it's really tough because you might baby it a little bit. Like, you're kind of just thinking, like, what if it happens again? But as you get going and you keep going, like, I think you just find your confidence. It takes time.
The center position has just been a run of awful luck this year, which Scott Sandlin said is my fault. And I'll take the rap for it, because I think I wrote at the beginning of the year, like, wow, look at the plethora of centers that he has this year. And he hasn't always had that. You know, there's been some of the years they got hit with early departures, or they weren't sure who was going to do what for center. You know, famously Noah Cates those couple of years moving over to play the middle because they were short setters. And I went and ruined it by writing about the plethora of centers that Scott had this year. But what has it been like at that position, the challenge of the rotating, of you guys not being able to get comfortable maybe with a certain line, you know, going up and down the line chart, not always knowing who's going to be available on any given night in the middle?
Yeah, it's tough. It seems like we've lost a center every month here now, or something goes wrong. But it's tough. You just kind of have to hop in and take advantage of the opportunity. I mean, it's kind of just like a next man up thing. But I don't know, it's been good, but it'd be nice to have all those guys back in the lineup too. I know that for sure.
All right, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we'll have more with Jack Smith. You're listening to the Bulldog Insider Podcast, brought to you by Essentia Health.
Greetings from Northlandia, a place to bring your curiosity, because here you will find curiosities. Whether it's a look inside the Northern Rail Train Car Inn or an introduction to Duluth's musical roboticist, Robot Rickshaw, we celebrate the region's distinctive people, places, and history. Each week, I'm joined by my fellow reporters who share the unique and fascinating stories that they discover while exploring the Northland. You can find new episodes of the Northlandia podcast on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Join us along this journey and discover the extraordinary stories that you just might miss if you're not in the right place at the right time, ready to step off the beaten path with no rush to return, here in Northlandia.
Hi, I'm Maria Lockwood, a reporter with the Superior Telegram. Explore Superior and Douglas County history with me on Archive Dive, a monthly podcast available at superiortelegram.com or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Welcome back to the Bulldog Insider Podcast, brought to you by Essentia Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine. They're proud to be the team physicians for the UMD Bulldogs and provide sports medicine care to more than 25,000 student athletes in the community to ensure they can compete at the highest level while protecting their long-term health and athletic futures. Thanks to Essentia Health for their support of the Bulldog Insider Podcast. I'm Matt Wellens, along with my co-host, Zach Schneider, and our guest this week, Jack Smith. We're going to play a game here to close things out called Start, Bench, Cut, Minnesota Edition. I loaded this all with Minnesota questions this time. Again, some of you may know this by the less family-friendly name. Your starter is the star. Your bench is who you're keeping on the team for later, and cut is kind of self-explanatory. Does this make sense, Jack?
Yep, I got it.
You got it? All right. We'll start with arenas. Amsoil Arena, XL Energy Center, or the MAC in St. Cloud?
I'm going to start Amsoil. I'm going to bench the MAC, and I'm going to cut the X.
You're going to cut the X, huh? Even though you won a state title there?
Yeah, I gotta stay loyal to the MAC.
Okay. Hockey events. The Tourney, Hockey Day Minnesota, or the third one I picked was Frozen 4 since it's in St. Paul this year.
At the X.
At the X, which Jack just cut. So
I'm gonna go start Frozen 4. I've never been to one before, but
so that's at the top of your list here now.
Yep.
Okay.
I'm going to bench the state tournament and cut Hockey Day.
Cut Hockey Day?
Yeah.
Did you play in a Hockey Day?
I did, yeah. That was my sophomore year, yeah.
Was that one in St. Cloud? Or was
Yep, on Lake George, right next to Lake George.
How was that for you?
It was pretty cool. We played the other St. Cloud team, St. Cloud Tech, and yeah, that was a great day. It was just unbelievable event, just how they put it on and everything. It was great.
I feel like the events, it was kind of cool. I feel like the event's gotten a little... I feel like when I watch it on TV now, it could be anywhere. It's lost some of the character, I think, since.
Unfortunately, just with the way the schedules have worked, because they want the UMD men and women playing at home on that day if possible, I think. But like the last 3, I don't think I've seen a minute of the coverage because we've been at the rink all day. So.
Yeah, most of my viewing of it too has been like
somebody had to remind me
such.
this year that it was hockey day in Warroad.
Okay.
So that's. Yeah, I
feel like it wasn't advertised as much this year or something.
Well, I think Bally Sports isn't exactly it's on Bally Sports, which not everyone gets now. So Minnesota pro teams, the Vikings, the Wild, and the Twins.
I'm going to start the Vikings, bench the Wild, and cut the Twins.
Would any of that change if I threw the Timberwolves in there?
No, I'm cutting the T-Wolves.
You're cutting the T-Wolves?
Yeah.
They just don't have much of a... I know they're doing well right now.
They are doing
but
well. I'm not a huge basketball fan, though.
Right, yeah. And I don't... Even if you were a basketball fan in Minnesota, I don't know if you'd be like a hardcore Timberwolves fan because that franchise has not had much success. Quarterback of the Vikings next season. Kirk Cousins, a free agent like Russell Wilson, or draft a rookie. I believe Oregon's Bo Nix is at the top of the list there, maybe, of potential quarterbacks.
I'm going to start Bo Nix, bench Kirk Cousins, and cut the free agent.
Cut the free agent.
Yep.
There's no free agent out there that you want. Not
right now. I think it'd be good to maybe start from scratch and draft a QB and maybe get lucky.
Blow it up and start over.
Yeah.
It's worked well for the Packers. The Wild at the trade deadline. Buyers, sellers, or stand pat?
Could you repeat that one more time?
The Wild at the trade line. Should they be buyers? Should they be sellers? Or should they just stand pat where they're at right now?
I think they should be buyers. I think they got to do something to just get it going, something different.
So we're blowing up the Vikings, but the Wild, we think we're close here?
I think they're close. I think they're a lot closer than people think.
Okay. All right. Zach, what do you think?
I don't know.
Obviously not.
Zach is pessimistic.
They've played some really bad hockey, but they've got such good players that it's hard to believe that it's going to continue forever. But boy, I've watched some clunkers from them.
It's hard once they get to the playoffs. You just see who they're losing to, and it's almost like it looks like they're so far away from those teams.
I will say this. I'll make this comparison. The UMD men are much closer to the top of your league than the Wild are to the top of theirs.
I like that.
You guys are better than your record would indicate. I don't know if the Wild are that much better than theirs this year.
I think UMD's in a better salary cap situation here right now, as well as the Wild. I don't know if the Wild can be buyers at the trade deadline here with their salary cap situation, but are you a big fisherman?
Here and there. I wouldn't say I'm a big fisherman, no.
Okay. Fish, walleye, muskie, or salmon?
I'll buy salmon or start salmon. I'll bench walleye and cut northern.
Cut muskies.
Muskie,
yeah. Northern, you're not a trophy fisherman?
No.
Necessarily. Mm-hmm. Okay. In-state college rivals. Minnesota, St. Cloud State, and Minnesota State. My apologies to the Bemidji State Beavers and St. Thomas Tommies for not including them on this.
Start Minnesota. I'll bench Mankato and cut St. Cloud.
Cutting St. Cloud.
Yeah.
Cutting the hometown team. Huh?
Yeah.
Why Minnesota? Was that the big rival even when you were growing up for St. Cloud?
Yeah, I feel like when I would go to St. Cloud games, it would just be like always packed when they played Minnesota. Like that, I feel like that was the game to go to. And Mankato, I feel like wasn't too big of a game for them.
There's a lot of fans out there, believe it or not, of UMD that would call St. Cloud State their biggest rival.
Really?
There's more than you would think. That
I feel like it's just because we play them so much. It almost doesn't even feel like a rivalry game. But Minnesota, I felt when we played them, it was a big rivalry game. So.
Yeah, I think it depends on maybe the age of fans too, because like other fans, North Dakota I think is up there with a big rival.
Those
for
are
UMD.
the three.
Yeah, North Dakota, Minnesota, and St. Cloud, and North Dakota and UMD, UMD and St. Cloud have waged some epic postseason battles. The last few years.
I'll change my answer.
Oh, you're gonna
start Minnesota, bench St. Cloud. We'll cut Mankato.
Cut Mankato. Well, Mankato was another interesting. There's some good postseason battles and everything in there. It's interesting with Minnesota because they just don't play as much as UMD and Minnesota anymore.
Yeah.
That's something I think everyone misses.
Mm-hmm.
I think their last postseason battle was in a regional in Manchester, New Hampshire, before like 100 people. I can safely say I think I tried counting, and it was like 100 people in the rink that day. Hockey movies: Miracle, Mighty Ducks, or Hockeyland?
Start Miracle, bench Mighty Ducks, cut Hockeyland. I haven't seen it yet.
You haven't seen
honestly.
Hockeyland?
I haven't seen it yet.
Blake hasn't made you all watch it?
It's on the list though. I got to watch it at some point.
It's good, but they cut all of Joey Pierce. There's Joey Pierce has just as much airtime, I swear, in that movie as everyone else, but he has no lines in the movie whatsoever. It's like his mic didn't work or something, or he just didn't say anything.
Yeah, I got to watch it.
Yeah. Last one, food: hot dish, Juicy Lucy, or walleye?
I'm gonna start hot dish, bench Juicy Lucy, and cut walleye.
Cut walleye.
Yep.
What's who makes the best hot dish in your family?
My mom.
Your mom. What's
Yep.
her hot dish recipe?
She's a good cook. I couldn't tell you honestly.
Oh, you couldn't tell? Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't tell us because it's like a top secret.
I can't tell you. It's good. It's good.
It's just good.
Yep. I just show up and eat it.
You just show up and eat it.
Yep.
All right. See, I'm a big fan. Deep fried walleye in Minnesota. That's been my.
I'm not a huge fish guy.
Not a huge fish guy. Just catch for sport. Zach, what would you do? You're a native Minnesotan.
Yeah, I think hot dish. Yeah, you'd have to start hot dish. Juicy Lucy's are really good. I'd probably do the same as Jack, but walleye's good, but I prefer it like fish and chip style.
Fish and chip style?
Yeah, like deep fried and
deep fry the walleye.
Yeah, but anything else, I'm not a big fish guy either.
Yeah, see, I'd start the walleye. I'd cut the Juicy Lucy. I think Juicy Lucy's are overrated. Maybe it's because I have no patience and I bite into the burger too quickly,
That's fair.
And I burn myself. That's my problem with them. All right, we'll wrap it up there. Jack, thanks so much for coming on the podcast this week. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, guys.
The Bulldog Insider Podcast. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. Like us, subscribe, and rate us. For more Bulldogs hockey coverage, visit DuluthNewsTribune.com/Bulldog Insider. Subscribe to gain access to all of our coverage all season long. Zach, not much for TV this week. The Bulldog men, they get the week off after that long bus ride to and from Omaha. Women are at St. Thomas.
Yep, no TV, so a weekend off for us, and we'll get ready for the Super Bowl. But the women play at 6 Friday and Saturday against St. Thomas, so if you've got Big Ten Plus, you can catch those games.
Warning, you're watching through a netting on Big Ten Plus, kind of like that Ohio State series. But you can still catch the women online if you want to watch them. Thanks to our sponsor, Essentia Health, for their continued support of the Bulldog Insider Podcast. And thanks to all of you for listening. We'll catch you next week.